Hey, 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 hey. This is Elder Russ, the boss lady, checking in with everyone on this evening. Of course, I am super duper excited about the fact that I have an opportunity to just come on here and just share some things with you guys as I'm celebrating being cancer free on this month. Of course, the month of October is special for me, anyways, because this is my birthday month. And I'm super excited about that. But I said I wanted to celebrate by educating on this year. And so, with that being said, I wanted to take some time just to pop on and celebrate with everyone by educating on something that's very passionate, near and dear to my heart. And that's on the topic of course, that thyroid function, dysfunction. We're going to talk about the thyroid gland for the month of October on Tuesdays, just so that we can just kind of become more enlightened in this particular area. One thing that I do know is that several years ago, when I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, before being diagnosed, I did not know very much about the thyroid gland at all. I'll be honest and tell you. And one thing that I began to think about is how oftentimes this gland and its function is very overlooked when it comes to our bodies, especially as women. We fail to realize just how much it's controlled when it comes to this thyroid gland. And oftentimes we don't even realize that our thyroid levels being off, whether they're high or low, have such a major effect when it comes to our bodies. And so before I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, one thing that I found myself experiencing was I just didn't know what was going on with my body. Y'all, I had no idea. My temperament was off. I was struggling when it came to my weight and stuff. I had something I felt pressing in my neck. I kept going back and forth to the doctors. And believe it or not, guess what? I was passed around for almost 4 years, literally just around 4 years. I went to several doctors. I went to walk-in clinics, seeing several physicians, just asking, telling them, hey, something is going on with my neck. Had several scopes and stuff or whatever, had several different antibiotics that they had put me on, telling me it was my sinuses, telling me it was a swollen lymph node, just telling me everything other than taking the time to actually do what was necessary in order for there to be a deeper look to take place, an ultrasound. And believe it or not, after all that time, it was weighing on me. I knew that something was wrong with my body. I was experiencing a lot of anxiety and stuff. My chest would be hurting and things. I did not understand. This was not normal for me. Like I felt like I was going crazy half the time, going into a doctor's office and feeling like you're expressing to them, hey, this is what's happening, but nobody really giving you clear answers when it comes to what's taking place in your body, but yet you know something is not right. I remember just the frustration of feeling like, what in the world is going to be my end? Because it was very clear that at that point, I didn't feel like I didn't have much hope in the medical field at all. And so one day and this was after literally about 3.5 years, almost 4 years. One day I was having a conversation with a near and dear friend of mine, and we were talking, and I was telling her, just sharing with her some of the things that I was experiencing. And I was telling her about, me feeling a knot in my neck and stuff, and not understanding, having several scopes done and them telling me they couldn't see anything or nothing was there, but I'm feeling something pressing against my esophagus. It was getting so bad at that particular point, that I was having a lot of problems being able to swallow. I was having a lot of problems even being able to breathe. And at nighttime, when I would go to sleep, I would get choked really, really easily and stuff. And just having to go to the doctor, trying to express to them exactly what was going on and stuff. And at that particular point, I did not get to see my primary care physician. You know how you'll go and they will get you in with a nurse practitioner or whoever else is available at that particular point in time. But when I finally, after all this time, y'all, I kid you not, after all this time, when I finally went to see my doctor and after having a conversation with my friend, and she said, have they ever taken the time to do an ultrasound of your neck to check your thyroid gland? I had no idea what a thyroid gland was. I didn't know what the function was. I didn't know how that would affect me or anything like that. So when she told me about having an ultrasound done, I was like, okay, well, when I go back to the doctor, I'll mention to them that I've never had an ultrasound done. And lo and behold, when I went and I was able to see my doctor, I sat on that table and I was completely drained and exhausted at that particular point, just feeling very, very hopeless and feeling as if I was going crazy and nobody understood and was going to take the time to really, really be able to help me. And I told him, I was like, nobody has ever taken the time to do an ultrasound. And he let me go on that day. He said, we're going to go ahead and let you go over to the x-ray portion of the building, and he had them do an ultrasound that day. Get the results back. Not only did I have one large lump in my neck, but there was another on the other side that I couldn't even feel because I was so focused on this one on my left, your right side. And it both ended up being cancerous. So for 3.5, going on 4 years, I had been walking around, being passed from doctor to doctor, to specialist, just being passed around, with cancer growing in my neck. Oh, but for the grace of God, that's all I can say. And so once it was determined exactly what it was so it was so funny because not only had just come out of having to have a total hysterectomy, which of course as women, you know how that goes. I mean, that's reproductive, other other things that have a major effect on your body, your reproductive organs and stuff or whatever. And then here's this little bitty butterfly shaped thyroid gland that's infected with cancer. And one thing that I thought about at that particular point in time was just how it felt like I was just losing pieces of me, not just in the physical sense, but when you think about being a woman, um, and having to endure a total hysterectomy, someone that has a desire to have children again, um, but yet that all of that's being taken away. But then you find out you have thyroid cancer and you learn what this thyroid gland actually does, and it seems like just your sense of being is just being ripped out from up under you. um, I remember just feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me, but yet so grateful in that moment. Even still, I remember just like it was yesterday, for the fact that God had kept me all those years. I was going back and forth to the doctor all those years. Even though it don't seem like, look, 4 years is a long time when you're experiencing something with your body, when you know something is off, but yet feel like like you don't have the help there in place. um, all that time, that cancer was growing in my neck. And when I finally found out that it was there, of course, we had to do the biopsies and stuff. And then, of course, it was okay, we're going to have to go ahead and do surgery and stuff. And one thing that I think about often is we don't always pay attention to our bodies when something seems a little bit off. But I want to encourage you guys on today, even as I'm going to tell you a little bit about the thyroid gland and stuff. But I want to say this first and foremost: um, pay attention to your body. You know you more than anybody else would. And when something starts to go left, when you know something is not right, when something starts to go left, You know for yourself. You are your own advocate. You know how we say that we are our children's advocates at times, our children's advocate, because oftentimes they when they were younger, they didn't know how they couldn't voice what was going on with them. So we had to be their advocate. You know your body. You know when something is not right. Um, yes, oftentimes it may be a swollen lymph node. Sometimes it may be that your sinuses are off or whatever. But if this is something that you're dealing with for an extended period of time, like I was, um, it made me feel like I was just a little rag doll, just being thrown this way and that way, and nobody wanting to take the time to actually do the research. And so for me this month, I just wanted to take the time as I'm celebrating, not just being cancer free, but another level of life. When I say after the thyroid cancer, the side effects from no longer having a thyroid gland, it's been a journey. It has been a journey. And we'll talk about those things another day. But I wanted to share something with you guys. I want to share with you, just in case you are not aware of what your thyroid gland actually does as it relates to us as women. Even though it's a tiny gland, it literally does have one of the biggest jobs. Like, I cannot even begin to tell you. And if something is infecting or intruding on its space, intruding its space in any way, shape, form, or fashion, when I say you can feel like you are going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, your body is thrown off in such a way because of all it impacts. Hold on just a minute. Let me turn this ringer off right quick. And so, with that being said, the thyroid gland is a tiny gland with a big job. And I want to read this to you, exactly where it's located and some of the things that will happen if it's not functioning right. It's located in the neck just above the collarbone. The hormones released by this butterfly-shaped endocrine gland play a crucial role in regulating many body functions, including energy levels, heart rate, growth, onset of puberty, metabolism, and mood. It does this by releasing a steady amount of thyroid hormones into the bloodstream. And just in case you don't know, it's your T3 and your T4 hormones that are being released by this thyroid gland. And guess what? When those levels are off, oh my goodness, if the thyroid gland is not functioning properly and releases too much or too little of these hormones, now you know how it is when it comes to hormones. Just imagine if some is not being released or if too much is being released, it can lead to a variety of symptoms. And I want you to pay attention to this because this is very important. Fatigue, dry skin, thinning hair or hair loss. Oh, that look. Weight gain and or puffiness, bowel changes, frequency, diarrhea or constipation, hoarse voice. So you will hear oftentimes when I'm doing my lives or whatever, sometimes my voice will get kind of wonky. Look, it's ongoing. Muscle weakness, sleep disturbances, muscle cramping, inability to focus, irregular or absent menstrual periods. And I want to talk about this because oftentimes, like I said, we as women can assume that, oh, I'm just tired, or I've been ripping and running so much that my body is just acting up, or whatever else, or I didn't worked hard, or so I don't have too much energy, or whatever else. But there's a difference between being a little exhausted or being tired and then being exhausted is what I would say. My body, when I say oftentimes, and even to this day, I have to pay attention because again, I don't have a thyroid gland anymore. My body would get to the point to where I would get through my day and I would literally feel like dead. You hear the phrase dead man walking. I felt like I was walking around carrying dead weight all the time. And then when I would hit the bed or whatever, it would literally feel as if my body would just shut down. I didn't have anything else more that I could give. I didn't look when I say mentally, physically, it would be as if I literally could not, even if I wanted to, try to process anything more, or else my brain felt like it was literally going to explode. And I still have to pay attention to these things today, because when my levels are off, I will start to feel that way. But I want you to be very mindful, because oftentimes we fail to realize, and even when it comes to, and we'll talk about this another time, but it also affects fertility as well too. It also impacts your desire to have intimacy as well too. Look, it literally, and I'm sure I posted something last week or so, and so many other women were chiming in talking about how they had been living with either with thyroidism for X amount of years and stuff. Look, people not even understanding you, how you will want to do so many things, or or you have the best intentions, but your body just is not cooperating with you. Oh my goodness. I want you to pay attention to these things, because if for some reason you have been going through life lately and you have not been feeling your best, if for some reason, you know how they tell us to do our breast checks, get your mammograms and stuff. But I want to encourage you as well too, to make sure that you're checking around your neck area and your throat area and stuff. You don't see the scar where from where I had the surgery. They just had the best surgeon in the world. He went right in that crease, and if you look close enough, you can see just a little small imprint. Went in there, did what he needed to do. Of course, it had spread some to my lymph nodes. So of course, with the I had to have some of those removed as well too. But if your body seems like it's doing something outside of the norm, yes, we are women, and oftentimes we keep pushing ourselves because we're trying to make sure everybody else is good, and we're like, oh, it's just me being tired because I've been, doing this or I've been doing that. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your body. If you start to feeling something, in your neck area, if you see some swelling, if you notice a lump of any sort or whatever else, don't assume that it's just one thing, and not go and get it checked out. Take the time Take the time to take care of you, because I'm going to tell you, even though I was being passed around and stuff, guess what? I knew something was not right on the inside. I knew deep down on the inside of me, of my being, something is not, it's not a swollen lymph node. I knew that something was not right, because I knew how I was feeling, how much of it affected. Like when I say, if you are typically pretty average, happy-go-lucky type of person, and then all of a sudden, every time somebody is saying something to you, your temperament is completely off and you ready to pop off, and you're blowing. Look, y'all, I was experiencing some things that I would not have even imagined. Like, it didn't even make sense to me. And because it didn't make sense, I'm seeking the help that I needed. But I was just, unfortunately, taking what was being said. Okay, another scope. They didn't see anything, but I'm still feeling this. Look, who wouldn't know to say, okay, let's dig a little deeper? 4 years. But if there's anything that I can do at this particular point, I just wanted to take a moment just to say, or to express to you guys, take the time to pay attention to you. We have so many hats that we wear, But don't get so focused on making sure that you're putting on those different hats that you're missing the fact that you are of importance as well too. Make sure that you're taking the time. If something is off and you're feeling a little bit worse than what you typically would, even on a good day, like I know I've been kind of busy, but I can't seem after a number of days, you still look. I would be going to bed literally soon as I would get home from work and would get up the next morning and still feel like I had not slept a wink. Look, y'all, in this season that we're in, it is important for us to be at our very best in order for us to be able to give our best in areas. When it comes to family, when it comes to work, when it comes to ministry, anything in any way, shape, form, or fashion, we have to make sure that we are being intentional about our self-care. We are being intentional about our doctor's visits. If something is off, we're not saying I'm gonna put that on the back burner, I'll deal with it another time. We have to be intentional about us, because guess what? If you don't do it, nobody else will. And so, if you feel like for some reason you're having an extreme amount of fatigue, my hair was falling out. Did not understand what was going on. Hair was falling out. Of course, like I said, it was a lot of things that was going on. Not being able to focus, my career. I'm I'm like, what in the world? You be doing something at work and it's like, why can I can't seem to finish a project. Like it was, you literally feel like you're fixing a crack on the inside. We're going to talk some more about these things, but I don't want to put too much into any particular area today. I just wanted to tell you about the function of the thyroid, because the issues that we will see a lot of times are more prevalent when it comes to women because of those hormones. And when those hormones are out of balance and out of sync, who would have known that this little bitty gland shaped like what we consider to be something beautiful, a butterfly, if something is disrupting its presence, guess what? That thing will fight back and it will give it will give you a run for your money. But I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that when it comes to your thyroid gland, if there's something where you just not understanding what's going on with your body. Like I said, if you're feeling some things, you're noticing some things as it relates to your neck area and stuff, or whatever. If you're having problems swallowing and you feel something pressing up in there, I even, like I said, I was having difficulty breathing, and they even, it was so funny because they even told me that it was GERD. It was from indigestion, like my digestive tract. They had and acid reflux and stuff. Like, okay, yeah, it's not, had me on every pill. Look, the craziness of it all. But I say again, oh, but for the grace of God. When I say the hand of God, I cannot give credit to anyone but him, because I know that this little old country girl could have been dead and gone. She could have been on up out of here. As much as I look, crying to my mama, crying, not even understanding what in the world. How do you explain when you don't even know how to, you can't put your finger on it for yourselves, and the doctors are not even like, they're, it seemed as if I'm sure they had their, I don't know, I'm not going to make excuses for them, but it seemed like the world was turning its back on me. But to God be the glory. I thank God for that conversation I had with the beautiful woman of God, and her just sharing her testimony and how she came to find out about her thyroid issues. If she had not shared that with me, oh my goodness. So, me learning from her, that's the beauty of the Boss Lady movement, bringing other sisters into success. If you're not willing to share, then guess what? The next person may have to suffer. But no, we all want to progress. We all want to prosper. We all want to produce fruit together. And so this month, I am celebrating in a special way being cancer free. And so I wanted to celebrate by educating in this particular area, just to share with you guys some things as it relates to that thyroid gland. If you have been feeling some kind of way and not understanding, take the time to do the research, take the time to schedule that appointment, let your medical professional know. And then, most importantly, if you feel like you're not being heard, don't give up. To God be the glory for the things that only He has done. I am super excited. We're going to talk some more. We're going to talk about thyroid cancer. We're going to talk about thyroidism, hyperthyroid, hyper and hypothyroidism. There are so many things um, that needs to be understood, because even when you have half of a thyroid, some people have a half a thyroid, some people have a whole thyroid, some people don't have a thyroid at all. Some, if you're like me, I have to take a pill because I don't have a thyroid anymore at all. If I don't, look, I've experienced everything on this list before and done none of it feels good. None of it. And on extreme levels. We're going to talk about that another day, though, another Tuesday. But thank you so much for jumping on this evening. I just wanted to come on and share this little bit with you. If you have questions, don't feel free to reach out, or if you have experiences that you want to share with others so that they too can get something from this time of education, by all means, please feel free to do so. I'm excited about life. I'm excited because we often take it for granted, whether it's something to do with a thyroid condition, whether it's something to do with our breasts, whether it's something to do with us having getting our regular pap smear. We have to be intentional about doing what's necessary to ensure that we are in our best health. And even when you do what you're supposed to, if you feel like something is off and you're not getting the service, the customer service, the treatment, the healthcare treatment that you need, guess what? Do not be afraid to speak up for yourself. Do not be afraid to be your own advocate, because you are your best advocate. Do not be afraid to go somewhere else, because your life could very well depend on it. I pray that this has blessed you on today. I hope you have a beautifully blessed evening. This has blessed me. We're going to continue to share some more things as far as this journey is concerned. What you see now, look, oh, but for the grace of God, this is nothing that I've done in and of my. We're going to talk about this weight thing as well too. Look, sometimes we're beating up our bodies, trying to make ourselves look a certain way or be a certain way, when guess what? Our bodies are functioning at the very best capacity that it can. Been there, done that. I had to learn me. And it takes you knowing you. Every single one of us are different. You have to know what is best for your body. Stop looking to the left, stop looking to the right. You have to know you and what your body can handle. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So with that being said, I hope you've had a good evening. Continue to enjoy this evening, and I look forward to speaking with you guys again soon. Have a beautifully blessed day. Bye.